have been posse trips where they were in the Cassia County Mounted Sheriff's Posse. But this one is obviously California or Texas, somewhere out of the... They don't have any swim pools in Idaho, so it can't be local. Once again, it looks like we're at the Northern California Rocky Coast. And a poor picture thereof. The... yeah, this looks like, yeah, obviously a posse expedition. I think it was the posse of the drill team. I think is just an excuse to get off and party a little bit. There's your Grandpa Saul. He was the leader of the pack. He was the leader of the pack in the drill team, but they did have a lot of fun. They would do, I think, parade sometime. Mostly though were there's Dad, Willard. And this Phyllis and Grant back again. I seem like, yeah, this is probably now this is, I think it is in Mexico, obviously, but I don't think it's a Tijuana or Ensenada deal. I think it was in Juarez or somewhere just across the border from Fort Worth. So interesting. You got the ox cart, that skinny steers pulling the wagon. Now yeah, once again, I think this is in the Texas trip, but can't be sure. Can't be sure. Yeah, this looks like some tropical plants. There's some palms or something. So anyway, this there's Rae and Phyllis Beck. This, I have a feeling, is somewhere in Arizona. I think it's obviously the greater black hole. Well, that's the old 49 Caddy, so this could have been a little earlier, an earlier trip. But these things were just taken and put together. I've cut and tried to paste them a little bit together, but it got to be like a Chinese fire drill. This looks like the Becks and Mother there. This, yeah, we're at the racetrack. Then we're on the highway, and then we're at the dam. I don't know. I have a feeling this might be Boulder Dam, but I couldn't prove it. Couldn't prove it based on what I can see here. It's Phyllis Beck. So a little bleachy. The scenery's kind of bleached out. Grant Beck, yeah. So this is Grant and the crew. Looks like we've transferred into some fishing trips. I have a feeling up it seems like they would go to Yellowstone Lake, as I remember on these things, but it could have been different places. But there's several of these pictures. This is Fred Allen here. He and his wife Bea lived in Burley and were in the drill team and good friends with the folks. And he actually had a oil. Now there's a picture there of Willard. That's the first dish he ever washed, I think, in his life. I think so. But the Allens were good friends. The Becks were farmers. They farmed down in Pella and right outside of Burley. Fred actually owned an oil distribution company where he delivered fuel to the farmers, and I don't think he had a service station. I think it was a bulk oil business, and then he later on sold that and moved. I think he moved down to Ogden area and ran a golf course. But he was an old Aggie booster. I think he actually played a little football in his younger days. I don't know who the little baby was. These are some fish that were caught. I guess. I hope they didn't exceed their limit. Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, this is once again, couldn't tell you where. I'm guessing a Yellowstone Lake. That looks like an old Plymouth or Dodge. Good styling back then. This got to be scenery, I guess, around a Yellowstone area, Montana. But I couldn't tell you for sure. I should have, I guess, consulted the other crew before I tried this project. But anyway, if it's wrong, tough. This is an old haystacker that we didn't even use those kind of. It's called a beaver slide. It's a series of poles together with a separation between them, and they would. Most of the people up in Montana would stack what they call meadow hay. They would just flood. They didn't even. I don't think they had to plant the stupid stuff. Just mow that wild hay. There's a Grant. Maybe this one could have been in Yellowstone Park even, but yeah, these old log. It must have been an inn or lodge or something where they went. The Yellowstone Park used to be where the animals were, the bear and stuff would be right in the park, but they caused so much grief with so many people coming through. They had to change their procedure and try to trap those bear and get them out of the way. Somebody caught a little fish, but somebody that looked like a raft on top of their car there, a rubber raft for fishing. I don't think back in those days there wasn't too much going on as far as float trips and stuff, but I think they would just use them to fish in. Getting a good view of that car, whatever it is. Willard's cutting wood. Yeah, I don't. In my recollection, we didn't do a lot of camping, so I think this was done. I guess kids got to stay home, and the adults got to do the fishing. But there's Grandpa Saul, I think, and he was in on this fishing trip. He liked to fish. So anyway, there's Willard. He's been down to cleaning the fish, I guess, and I don't know who the guy with the bib overalls is. I have no idea. But obviously this was a pretty good sized fishing expedition. Phyllis Beck. This, I suppose, was thrown in there. Maybe it's up at Sun Valley. I don't know of any other outdoor skating rinks that I'm aware of. But anyway, I guess it could have been in Colorado or somewhere, but that's the story, or lack thereof. This must be the same general area there, whatever it was. This, that does look like Sun Valley in the background, I would say that. Or the mount, whatever it is, Baldy or whatever. That must have been after Dad got tossed off in his racing expedition and broke his leg. The horse tried to run through, or was headed for a barbed wire fence, and he bailed off and broke his leg. That's Doug, and this is the old potato field with the way they used to do it. The bucking taters and stacking. It's kind of when you got so you could lift a 60-pound bag or half bag of potatoes on the truck without hitting with your knee, you reached manhood, I think. So it was a rites of passage and unfortunately we didn't have much time to do that. We were always running some piece of equipment. That looks like Gary and Mike there through the spud rows. And a lot of times we'd get to drive the truck when we were younger, and we're older, we're running the diggers or the harvesters or the rotobeater or something, so we didn't get to do much. That was Marilyn and her kids, I think Steve and Matt, Marilyn Seeds. But Anyway, they about got that baby loaded up. So that looks like Mike there. That might have been Phyllis, and some of the women would pick the potatoes in baskets and then dump them into they'd share a sack, and most of the Mexican guys would just drag they had a board on their thighs that would drag the sack, and then they'd fill the sack. That's my horse. Yeah, this is Dad on Rocket, and he's got little Alan with him, and he's giving him a little bit of a ride. That's little Alan. He lived till he was 3 or 4 years old. He had the Down syndrome. Cute little guy. There's Bill on Rocket there, the old quarter horse stud that we had. That must be me on old Tony. That was my pony racing horse. And that's Bill again on Rocket. There's Mike and Doug goofing off with their Gatlings. There's Doug, the old tractor in the background. Yeah, there we go again. We had different horses. Some of them I remember their names. I think that was Tony, though. He was a horse we had around for a long time. Good horse. A little bit of a runaway in the pony races at the Cassia County Fair, though. There's Mike and Doug again, duking it out. I'd say Mike was probably 2nd grade or something. I don't know. There's Grandma's house with her old 47 Chevy, looking out to the west towards Cottonwood. This is not pretty poor pictures, but I don't know if that's me or who it is. We're obviously working the cattle to do the branding, dehorning, castrating, vaccinating, dewlapping, ear notching, and it was kind of a lot of people would show up, and I don't know why we get 3 or 4 kids in there getting run over, but that's the way it goes, I guess. Yeah, they're pretty poor video, but anyway, they would, if the calves got too big, we'd use a chute and work them through a chute, but as they were younger, you just rope them and stretch them out and go ahead and do whatever we had to do to them. This is, I think, just a lack of enough light, and you can still see the corral fences still probably working. Here's the somebody drinking soda pop on top. This looks like the Cranney boys headed for church, and Grandma Rae and the old, I think it was a 47 Olds. I think it was the first car we ever had. They weren't available. That's Dad on Copper. That was his favorite Posse horse. I think that's me. I don't know who's on the roan mare. That's Gary, and then I don't know. I can't remember the name of that horse, but he was, all I knew, he wasn't much. It wasn't much stock. There's our little feedlot. This is old Patronage. This is a horse stallion, thoroughbred stallion by Alibi that Dad bought. And in fact, they may have claimed him. Monty Park, one of the Park boys from over in Albin or Declo was training in California and claimed him, and we used him as a stallion. And he was, actually went back to the race. We tried to go back to the races. We bred him to a few mares, but he didn't stay sound. But this is right out in front of the stallion barn there, and there's the house in the background. He's a nice bred horse, but he had a few runners, but nothing. This old Rocket, the old quarter horse stud, I don't know there's Copper. The mares I can't identify. They're just some of the thoroughbred mares and different, and they're babies, but I don't recognize any I could name. But it's been a long time. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, let's see. It's headed east, I think, looking east towards the East Hills there. Let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, just more.